So this is for the last section, 8.4, solving polynomial equations. We're doing the sum, because it's addition, and difference, because it's subtraction of cubes. Cubes because it's something to the third power. So these two formulas you will need today, like definitely you need them for the 4 problems that you're going to do a reference to this. So let's say you're getting the first example. So this is just under example 1, factor. So this is the first problem we're going to see. X cubed minus 125. So obviously, is this a difference or a sum? A difference because it has a subtraction, right? So I need to look at each of these things. This represents who? The A cubed, yes? Who's my B cube? Just the positive 125. My B cube is 125. In order to use this formula up on the top, I need to know my A minus B, A squared plus AB plus B squared, right? So I need to know who A and B are. How can I find A when A cubed is it's X squared? What do you think your A is? Somebody over here said it. It's just X. You take the cube root of both sides. If I take the cube root here, it's just an A. If I take the cube root here, it's just an X. If I take the cube root here, this is just what? B. But what is the cube root of 125? What number multiplied times itself 3 times gives you? It's 5. Very good. Gives you 125, it's 5. So, do you understand how we got A and B? Cube root. And in case you don't know it, you have a calculator to do it, or play around with numbers. Do 2 times 2 times 2. Nope. 3 times 3 times 3. Nope. Figure out what it is. And all you do here is just substitute back into the equation. So here, who's A? X minus, who's my B? 5. A squared means what? X squared plus A times B. Well, this is A and this is B. When I multiply them, what do I get? 5x plus B squared. What's 5 times 5? 25. And you are done. What do you think? It's simple, but you need to really know what the heck we're doing. So it's A and B. You're always have to do this thing that we did right here. Okay, so let's look at one more. So this is still from example 1. But what in the world? But we're going to do another problem. 64x cubed minus 1 equals to 0. Now this one again is a sum or difference. It's a difference. So I'm going to write down the formula just because I can't see it anymore. So I need to keep it here just to be safe. If you don't want to copy it, you don't have to. There it is. It's on your paper. And I know that looks messy, but whatever, man. You should know what it is. Because you have it there. So here I have, who's my A cubed? 64. So A cubed is 64. Who's my B cubed? A 1. So how do I get, and it's 64x to the third. The variable stays with it. So what is the number that gives me 64 when I multiply it times itself 3 times? So A is going to be 4, but because of the x cubed, it's a 4x. Who's my B going to be? 1. So then we just plug it into the formula. Parentheses, who's A? Whoa. Who's the 4? Who's my A going to be? 4x minus 1. And then it says a squared. Well, if a is 4, and I don't know why I put an a here. It should be 4x, I'm sorry. 4x. If a is 4x, then a squared is 4x times 4x, which is 16x squared. So please be careful. So this here becomes a 16x squared. If a is 4x and b is 1, what's 4x times 1? 4x is correct, so that's my middle term. If b is 1, what's 1 times 1? Plus 1. So this here is your answer. Yes, you have to do this kind of work, but it's not like, oh my god, I've never multiplied a 4x times a 4x. I have no idea what you're talking about. Alrighty, so this is going to be the next one. I want you to pause the video, those of you who are watching the video, and try to figure this one out on your own. And then we'll place, you could play after you've worked it out so you could check your work. Now this one's going to be a sum or difference. Sum. So I'm just going to write down the formula you're going to use here. That was given to you at the front. Now I'm hoping by now you know when you use sum or difference. All you have to do is look at this number. If it's a plus, you use the one that's the sum. A squared minus ab plus b squared. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here and give you a chance to work it out slowly. My a cubed is 8x cubed. My b cubed is a positive 1. So my a would be a 2x, and my b is going to be a 1. And all we do is substitute into the formula. So this is 2x plus 1. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So that's your a squared. And then 2x times 1 is 2x. Alrighty. So your a cubed is 8x cubed. Your b cubed is 1. So that tells me that a is 2x and b will be 1. So when we plug it into the formula, it's just a, which is your 2x, plus your b, which is the 1 here. And then we're looking for a squared. That would mean we have to take your a, which is 2x. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So we put a 4x squared here. And then we have a times b, which is 2x times 1. And 2x times 1 is just 2x. So because it has subtraction, make sure you write down a subtraction. And we put minus 2x. Then we're looking for b squared. And that's just 1 times 1, which is a 1. If you want to check your work, you could do 2x times 4x squared. 2x times negative 2x. 2x times 1, and then do 1 times 4x, and 1 times the negative 2x, and 1 times 1, and all that would give you the final answer, which is this one over here, the original one. Here, have you seen something like this before? What?
Actually, yeah.
This factoring, yes, where we would take what? The little,
The 16 and the negative 8.
the last number goes here and the middle number here, and it's a negative. Well,
16 is positive.
and of course the 16 is positive. I knew it. So, what factors give me 16? 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. But the 16 is positive, but your middle number is negative, so that tells you both numbers have to be negative, right? And who would add up to a negative 8? The 4 and 4. So my answer would be x minus 4 and x minus 4. Today we're going to do the same thing, but this is your problem right now. this would be your official problem. X to the fourth minus 8x squared plus 16. So it's the same thing. The only thing that changed was what part? The exponents. The x squared became an x to the what? Fourth, but you would do it the same thing. You would make a little table. This is 16, this is negative 8, this is 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. This guy is negative, so they both have to be negatives. And you would know my answer would be a minus 4 and a minus 4. But what do you think has to go there? It can't be an x. It would have to be an x squared. Because x squared times x squared gives you what? The x to the fourth. When I do x squared times the 4, negative 4, it gives me a negative 4x squared, so that's how you end up with the middle number. But when I look at this, I have another issue. Can I still factor this out a little bit more? Yes, because this is a minus, and can we take the square root of 4? Do you remember what we do with those numbers? X plus, what's the square root of 4? 2 and an x minus 2. Do you remember doing that? We did these. They're called difference of squares. So here you have the same problem. So guess what? X plus 2 and an x minus 2. So we have to factor this all the way through as much as you can. And this here would be your final answer. Looks different, looks weird. I get it. So now it's just the factoring is going to be a little bit more intense. Let's look at this one, and I'm going to make it like something we've seen before, x squared minus 4x plus 3. So when I make my table, who goes in the first little slot? The 3, and here, a negative 4. So the only way I could get 3 is 1 times 3. This is a negative, so once again, both of them have to be negative, so that gives me a negative 4. So this would be x minus 1 and x minus 3. But what we're doing today is x to the fourth minus 4x squared plus 3. Once again, you work it out the same way. This is a 3. My middle number is a negative 4.
Like, where do you start getting the x to the fourth then? Yeah.
Oh, because this is the way your problems are going to look with x to the fourth. This is the way they're going to be. But I'm telling you, it's exactly the same thing we did before that you're doing right now. This is the way your problem is going to look, but you work it out exactly the same way.
So you're just giving us like an example.
And I'm trying to relate what we were doing before to what we have to do now. It's showing you it's the same thing. The only thing that changes is when we put it here, instead of having x, it has to be x squared because of the x to the fourth. And what were the numbers that you had to use? Negative 1, negative 3. Now, can we take the square root of 3? So this guy stays the same. Can we take the square root of 1? Yes, what is it? So x plus 1 and x minus 1. This here is my final answer. We're simplifying. We're trying to factor everything out as much as we can. So this would be f. We have x to the fourth plus 12x squared plus 27. So what do I do here? The 27 and the 12. 1, 27, 3, and 9 are my only ways. It's a positive 27, and my 12 is positive, so they both have to stay what? Positives. Now this one becomes a plus 3 and a plus 9 So, but I have to put a what? X squared. Now, can I factor anything out here? Nope. Anything out here? Ah, it's only when it's a difference. Is this a subtraction? No. So guess what? That's my final answer. You can't do anything. It has to stay. The only time you could factor something that is squared, that you could take the square root of, is if it's a difference, a subtraction in the middle. So that is the only one right there you can't not do anything. So x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 4 equals to 0. Whatever. So go ahead and try to do that one. I'm going to pause this for a little bit. Alrighty. So my table, last number, 4. Middle number, -5. 1 times 4, 2 times 2. This guy is positive, so they are both going to have to be negatives. So when I do this, who gives me the -5? The top one, right? So this would be x squared minus 1 and x squared minus 4. But when we look at this, it's not letting me. So this would be a 4, but since they're both differences, so because it's a minus and there are numbers we could take the square root of, then square root of 1 is plus or minus 1, and 4 is a plus and minus 2, and that's your final answer.